But there was actually a major announcement on the United States Soccer Federation. They just announced as of Tuesday that they're offering the respective players' unions for the United States women's national team and the United States men's national team the same proposed contract, kind of CBA agreement, the same players' union agreement. The goal is to kind of align the men's and women's programs into one single kind of contract. Essentially, they said a single bargaining agreement structure. So let me first say this. Overall, there's no question this is a good thing for women's soccer. This is a good thing for the soccer in the United States. But let's be clear about something. We all know that large organizations carry a lot of clout and can push narratives at ease and with ease because they have the resources to do it. So if they want a narrative to be pushed out there, they can do it. And the reality is, let's be full 100 about this. This is not, the goal of this was not out of simply to align both the men's and the women's to a single bargaining agreement. No, that is total bogus. That is total malarkey. That is absolute nonsense. The reason and the impetus behind this decision is because of how much blowback the United States Soccer Federation has received from the women's player unions that have been lamenting the pay scale and the disparity in pay between the men and the women programs and the national teams. And that's why you've got the women's side lambasting the United States Soccer Federation for years, complaining and ridiculing them for their discrimination in pay. And when you think about who has been the most vocal team and the most outspoken cohort of women athletes, of female athletes, it's been the United States women's national team that have been the most outspoken on this issue, complaining and championing the need for equal pay. You've got the Megan Rapinos, you've got the Ambi Wambachs, you've got the Alex Morgans. And in fact, there's actually a current lawsuit that exists that 28 women have filed against or a lawsuit alleging gender discrimination over violations of the Equal Pay Act. And so when we think about soccer in the United States, if we're totally being honest about this, it's been the United States women's team that's carried the mantle. They are the much more decorated team when it comes to United States soccer. The men's team can't hold a candle to what the United States women's team has been able to do. The job that they've done, not only on the domestic level, but the international level. Internationally, they're renowned and universally known and regarded as the number one women's international soccer team in the world. And in fact, when you look at their accomplishments and you look at their accolades, they've been the number one international women's national soccer team ever. They've won the Olympic gold, the Olympics. They've won 4 times, 1996, 2004, 2008, 2012. They've won the World Cup 4 times, 91, 99, 2015, 2019. They were the runner-ups in 2011. They finished with a 3rd place finish at the World Cup 3 other times. They've won the CONCACAF Gold Cup 8 times. And if we actually evaluate this women's national team, they've generated actually so much more money to the U.S., to the Soccer Federation, than the men's team, if we're being fully honest about it. So I understand why they're complaining about it, why they've complained about it for years. And again, it'd be one thing if you're looking at the WNBA and the WNBA is requesting the same amount and they're requesting equal compensation to the NBA, despite the fact that they're playing fewer games, because that's not a gender discrimination thing. That's a scheduling issue where you're not playing the same number of games, so it's harder to argue for the same pay. We see that in tennis. That's not an issue. Emma Raducanu and Daniil Medvedev received the same purse, $2.5 million, for winning the U.S. Open. That's not an issue with tennis, and yet the U.S. women's national team is arguably the most popular women's sports team in the world. You can honestly argue that. So, again, I agree that I'm glad to see that they're being compensated fairly, or at least it appears to be heading in that direction, because all the evidence suggests that they should be, both financially and from an accomplishments and an achievement standpoint. But this is kind of long overdue, and this is just the way of the United States Soccer Federation trying to rectify a mishandling that they did years ago. But that is what it is.